Hello, everyone, and welcome to His Author's Voice. And I am the author, Jack Sanger. The story you're about to hear is about time, God, the meaning of everything. So there you are. I hope you enjoy it. God, the cosmos, and rock and roll. We're seduced by the irreversible onward flow of time, epitomised by the white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, hurrying, watch in hand, late for a meeting. Whereas in fact time is not like that. Imagine, if you will, a picnic laid out on a checkered cloth. There is so much to eat. You can eat it in any order and any mix. You do not have to follow the convention of an entree, followed by a main course, followed by dessert, cheese and coffee. Let us say that the cloth and food are the fabric of existence, and we, the witnesses, are also part of it. And through our consciousness determining the whole mise-en-scène, we are what we eat. We are everything. The old sage, an emeritus professor of the theory of everything, sat back in his armchair and took a sip of kefir. He still bore the hallmarks of his rock and roll beginnings with his white ponytail and drooping moustache. His face was etched by the scalpel of drugs, countless venue nights, and innumerable partners of every inclination. Following which life, at the age of 35, he had retired into quantum physics, where his audience became the heavens, and his fellow band members the elite of the world's scientists. Opposite him was his brother, an Anglican bishop and one-time fellow band member. His face was childlike, unlined, pink and soft. Unlike his siblings' glittering ancient mariner's eyes, his were misty and benign. And unlike his brother's loose North African floppy white linen clothes, he wore a regulation purple cassock. His kefir nestled in his palms. They'd had an excellent meal prepared by the scientist's housekeeper. It seems to me, bro," continued the sage, caustically adopting street slang, "all religions have ridden on the notion of a time's arrow, offering insurance policies regarding what is beyond the target. What's the expression? A hope and a prayer. Remove that from the equation and congregations will vote with their feet and their bank balances, and the temples shall be empty thereafter." My dear elder brother, you'll never drop the band frontman role, will you? Lead singer for the new wave quantum uncertainty. Still the same old, prog rock though. Anyway, why be so dismissive of what I do? It comes between us. I won't change my beliefs, and you won't change your unbeliefs. Oh, it's true, I was a bit over the top. But I've been thinking we could engage in a little experimentation, a kind of proof of the pudding thing. It would be amusing, if nothing else, and like all else, it would stay a secret between the two of us. Sounds risky to me. Remember the night the band broke up? The sage looked at him sharply and sipped more coffee. His brother followed suit. I do. Timothy Leary, magic mushrooms, a night of terror mixed with religious ecstasy. How could I forget that? You saw angels, heaven, chariots of fire, the Almighty, the apostles. The bishop laughed. And you saw your body as a cloud of temporarily attracted atoms made of stardust, as the song goes, and here we are, shaped by what happened then. A believer and an agnostic. Two lives on two different paths, precipitated by a magic mushroom concoction, although I can't say I regret the experience. Exactly, and it was 50 years ago on this very night. Really? An anniversary, eh? The bishop stared hard at his brother. So, what is this experimentation you mentioned? The cleric set his empty glass down. It's already begun. The scientist put down his glass. The bishop and the sage were the sort of siblings who had always had the capacity to telepathize in moments of heightened emotion. The bishop stared at the empty glasses. "Fuck," he said unclerically. "What was in them?" "Same as then. Amanita muscaria. Good ones, look." He reached under the coffee table and displayed in his palm a bright red fungus with distinct white spots. "Time to travel again, bro. You and me. A double-blind experiment." He laughed that soft, affectionate laugh his brother loved, and which would always heal the temporary rifts between them. "I've made up 2 beds in the studio. We'd better settle down before we forget what we're doing." Surprisingly, the bishop felt no anger, or even sadness at his brother's duplicity. Perhaps the drug was already infiltrating his reason. Perhaps in the cosmic quantum way of things, he'd been waiting for this to happen. If his scientist brother was right after all, it had happened already, anyway. The 2 octogenarians walked unsteadily to the studio, kicked off their shoes and lay down, pulling duvets over themselves. After a while, the bishop was the first to speak. "Anything happening?" "A bit of weirdness, disorientation. I feel I'm levitating slightly. You?" The bishop said slowly. "It's the same, but it's changing. It's like I'm back there again, 50 years ago. Yet it's now. I can see all the band equipment floating around. The old Strats. Moog, Rhodes, Ludwig." He shook his head and looked across at his brother. "And you look the same as you did then. Christ! The hair, the spangled tights, the platforms." He giggled. "That eye makeup, you old Bowie clown." "Well, look at you, you New York doll," grinned his brother. "A dress, for fuck's sake. Oh. I'm starting to come apart at the seams, old bean. Bits of me are floating away. I'll be like the Cheshire Cat, just a huge grin left on my face. Whoa! No wonder Lewis Carroll took the mushroom." "Hey, can you see it?" asked the bishop. "What?" "The light. Wow, it's an angel. And it's on a fucking chariot. There's more. They're coming for us, brother. Are we dead?" "Not me," said the sage, now whispering. "Not me." They stopped talking, each on his own trip. The night was long, and it was 12 hours later, in full sunshine, that they were woken up by a hammering on the door. "Oi, dopeheads, time to rise and fucking shine. The gear's packed in the lorry, the bus is waiting, breakfast is ready on board. Berlin, here we come." "Oh," muttered the lead singer. "My head's screwed," moaned his brother, the bassist. What a smasheroony that was. Wild. "I travelled into the future. You were there," said the lead singer, collecting his fragmented thoughts. "Wow, no. We did it. Synchronised tripping again," replied his brother, wide-eyed. "You were some bloody 80-year-old cosmic scientist or whatever. And you were a bloody 80-year-old Christian bishop person in a purple smock thing." "I know. I found God. I found the meaning of the universe." They were getting up off their beds. "What was it?" "Can't remember. But it was right on, man." They laughed. How was Mr. God?
Same as usual.
Hairy white male, up there, pissing on us all. They staggered out of the hotel room on their platform heels and headed for the lifts. Well, that was God, the Cosmos and Rock and Roll. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Every new subscription helps. There are several other stories that play around with the current scientific theory that time is everywhere, past, present and future, if we only knew how to exploit it with that potent force, our consciousness. It's funny, reading it out aloud, to me anyway, how the references to Alice and Lewis Carroll crept in, unannounced. But that's the way of story writing, isn't it? If you try the playlists Magic and Sci-Fi, you'll find more time-bending tales. In the meantime, you might want to read my work, and you'll find it on www.jacksanger.com, where there are novels, plays, short stories, and poetry. You can download for free, or you can make a donation. It's entirely up to you. In the meantime, please send the link for this channel to your friends, subscribe, and go in peace. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.